In this video we're going to be talking about Civil 3D's corridor design, more specifically its targets, how targets work in Civil 3D's corridors, and the power of those targets. Those of you that know me here at MicroCAD, I really try to pull into some of our training classes the use of targets a lot more than maybe others do. Only because I use targets and corridors for everything. I build parking lots out of corridors. We use detention ponds out of corridors. Corridors are a very extremely useful tool added to your tool chest within Civil 3D, and understanding them is really the key to being able to design much more dynamic and stable designs within Civil 3D. So if we take a look at this corridor, I'm going to target I have an alignment down here, and I have two offset alignments. One of those on the left hand side does have a transition lane, so we'll talk about that. I also have a polyline here where we can target the polyline. Now when we talk about parking lot design, I know this is a roadway example. I recommend checking out some of the documentation on parking lot design with Civil 3D, and I will probably make another video just kind of showing you some tips and tricks in that area, but for now we're just going to talk about simple roadway targets. Let's take a look at these offsets. I'm going to add in a brand new region before the intersection. Okay, this region is going to use my MC full assembly, and I'm going to start it just after that transition lane, just to make things a little bit easier. And we're just going to say OK. I intentionally did not set any targets because I need to explain what they are first. Right now, the way an assembly works is that it is based off of a standard cross-section. Those of you that are familiar with Civil 3D understand that, if this is my assembly, right now this lane thinks that it is 14 feet in width. However, you will notice that in my intersection, my curb lines follow that alignment nice, but that new region that I just created does not. That is because this road is 12 feet wide. But at the transition, all the way down here, it obviously gets wider than 12 feet. It actually goes to 24. So now we got to figure out, okay, would I need to make a new assembly or would I not? And there's a zillion different ways to go about this, but for now we're just going to make one assembly followed all different widths of pavement. So we do that by clicking on my region, and I'm going to go to that region we just created, and we're going to go to its targets. First, the surface targets, those are for our daylights. We're going to target existing grade. Our width targets, we will target for the right side. Okay, notice that we can target alignments, feature lines, survey figures, and polylines. Go to alignments, and I'm going to select alignments from my drawing using this button here, and the right side is that alignment. Now anyone used to the text editor knows that you have to click this button for anything to happen here. Otherwise, if I say OK, nothing happened. Okay, this is very similar to the text editor and that blue arrow in there. So we'll hit add. There it is, it's added as a target. We'll say OK. Do the same thing with the left hand side. Hit add, OK, and voila, there we go. Our targets have been added. It follows the lanes. Our daylights are targeting existing grade. Everybody's happy. Now, the intersection, the transition lane, can be done a million different ways. If I could just continue this corridor on through that transition, you see how that works. That follows very nicely. However, I am not going to do that because if I increase the frequencies there, meaning the amount of times that I sample my finished grade and my alignment, it will increase the frequencies for the whole region, that whole road. So really not efficient when we start talking about really asset management in Civil 3D. So we're going to go in insert before region, or region before, I'm sorry. Same cross section or assembly. We'll call this transition. and we're gonna just end it about here for now. But the targets, we need to go to targets. Same thing, we'll go with daylight, our DTM or existing grade, and the right hand side will follow this alignment. Okay, and the left hand side will follow this alignment, and there we go. Now if I wanted to, you see that it follows that transition lane very nicely. Inserting or changing the frequencies is simple there. If I increase it to 5 maybe, you'll see that that entire transition area increases its frequencies to 5, however the rest of the road does not. You can imagine every one of those frequencies adds more data to your drawing, so managing that and not doing it for the entire section makes sense in the long run. Okay, this polyline. That polyline is also going to be a target. Okay, you don't have to use alignments. You can use simple polylines. This is just a polyline. If I were to choose it, you will see that it is at elevation 0. And when I go into edit my regions, okay, I'm going to edit. And notice, just as a quick explanation here, in 2010 Civil 3D, when I highlight a region, it highlights on my screen. Note the blue line here. When I deselect it, it goes away. When it's selected, it's there. Okay, so I know what region I'm working with, and if I want to split it at about this location and then again at about this location, now I've created a new region. Okay, and can take a look at those regions. There we go. Alright, so say OK just for now, and let's go in here and we will edit this region. We're going to call this pull off. That's just to keep it simple. We don't have to change the region assembly or any of that. We just want to change the targets, and you'll notice that I already have targets set up for this. So this brings up a second point. We can add in more than one target. So on the right hand side of my road, I want to target not an alignment this time, but a polyline. I'm going to select that polyline from the drawing. Notice that both are listed here. Now that both are listed, how does it know which target to hit? Okay, well, it says down here, select choice if multiple targets are found, target nearest or farthest. I go with farthest to say OK, OK, OK. And there we go. Now I have sufficiently worked through my targets for a transition along with a pull-off. You see how simple these targets are. Obviously there's a lot more to it, but if you're ever interested, I recommend checking in with us at microcad3d.com or contacting me at ghatch@microcad3d.com. Have a great day.